Hi, welcome to Father and Son, a Star Wars podcast. This is our first podcast. I'm Kerwin, and this is Keith.
We love Star Wars and we can't wait to share it with you. We'll talk about it from the past, present, and future.
And if you're a fan, you know that there's so much material we can discuss for the next 20 years, and there's more content on the way.
And if you're new and you'd like to learn about it, you've come to the right place.
And this podcast is for people of all ages. It's very family friendly. So since this is our introductory episode, I think the first thing we should do is just talk about how we became Star Wars fans. Starting with me, my first Star Wars movie was The Empire Strikes Back. I saw in 1980. I was 12 years old, thought it was a very good movie. And I went back and I saw the first one, A New Hope, and loved it. And I could not wait for Return of the Jedi. And, it was so much hype at the time. We had television. I also had a magazine called Starlog magazine that gave us the information that I needed to know about the film. But then the day finally came. I'm from Brooklyn, and two of my buddies, the three of us, took a train to Manhattan to actually go to the movie theater. This is such a big deal for us. And we went to the theater called Lowe's Astor Plaza. And it's not there anymore, unfortunately, but there they had the widescreen, the Dolby surround. We went to the ticket office and bought our tickets and waited in line for 2 hours to actually go in to see the film. But we finally got in, sat in the middle of the theater so we can get a good shot of the film, and it was wonderful. I'll never forget that experience. That's almost 40 years ago. So, Star Wars, after the first trilogy, you didn't see much of Star Wars. And then the prequel trilogy came out in the 90s. And then the sequel trilogy came out. And this was around 2015. And at this time, you were born shortly after. And I was in the bookstore one day and I noticed that they created the golden books, the little golden books of the first six Star Wars movies. Yeah. And I bought them and I was so excited. And I went to my wife and I said, well, Tanya, do you think, Keith would be interested in these books? And she said, well, just give it to him and find out. So I gave you the books and you read them, you loved them. And you came to me and you said you were ready to see the first Star Wars movie, which you saw was A New Hope. And, it's the rest is history. So I'm going to allow you to talk about your experience with Star Wars. Can you tell me what you remember about how you were introduced?
Okay. So, like you said, I learned about it from you when you brought home the first 6 golden books. Those were actually pretty fun to read. And that also made me interested in watching the movie and even going into the Lego stuff they had for it.
Wow. Nice. That's right. You're a huge Legos fan.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you showed me the first movie after I asked you. And then we started moving on to The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. We saw The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker in theaters, but I think we watched The Force Awakens at home.
Yes.
Yeah. So now I've seen every movie except for Revenge of the Sith. Right. And we've taken it further than there. Me and my dad went to New Jersey in 2019 to see the play for it. They played the soundtrack and had the movie on the bright screen right above it. Yeah, above the orchestra.
Sure. Let me explain what that is. So, every once in a while, they'll have a live orchestra play with the film. So we were living in New Jersey at the time. We went to the NJ Pack and we saw Star Wars live. That was a great experience. Yeah. Thank you for that. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. And then that turned into your love of Legos, right? Because you were actually started buying, we started buying a few Lego products that were Star Wars related. Like you put together the Carbon Freeze Chamber,
Obi-Wan Interceptor, the AT-AT and the Razor Crest for the Mandalorian, the Y-Wing for the Rise of Skywalker.
Right. Yes, a lot. And
I'm clocking these.
Yes, you are. You are. And, you're a big fan of Star Wars. You're a big fan of Legos. And that's the reason for this podcast. Now, do you want to talk about maybe, one of your favorite characters in the movie?
Well, actually, can it be for the Clone Wars? Because I have some fun facts about Ahsoka. She actually led her own team in an episode of the Clone Wars, season 1, episode 19.
Okay.
Her team successfully like took control of the planet Ryloth and overrode the separatists because they had control of the planet at that time.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Very good. You studied your Ahsoka, huh?
Actually, I did.
Right. And there was a novel that was written about Ahsoka, right?
Yeah.
And how many times have you read that novel?
I think at least 10.
10 times.
We also have the audiobook, which I listen to practically every week.
Yeah. It's a, yeah. As you can tell, we're big fans of Star Wars. So that's the reason why we wanted to put this podcast together, so that we can share our love of Star Wars to
an audience and a new generation of people.
Absolutely, a new generation of people. Again, this is our introduction, and every episode will have a different topic. We'll talk about the galaxy of heroes, galaxy of villains.
Right.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of topics to discuss. We'll never run out of information to talk about. So you want to say anything else before we wrap up?
Well, we even have some content lined up to release over the next few weeks.
Good. All right. Exactly. All right. So thank you very much for tuning in. This is the Father and Son Star Wars podcast, and we hope to see you soon.
Bye.